Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Taisho Alice, and we are just continuing where we left off, and apparently we have fallen into Kaguya's route, so... Which would make sense if he's the third brother? That we're doing it in order of their age, like when they were created in Alice's head. Because I assumed it was going to be Gretel next, but I think Gretel was the fifth brother. But... I don't really remember who was... I thought, yes, Cinderella was always the oldest, but... They first seemed to be going in the order of the way we played them, but now they're not that way. It's kind of interesting, though, thinking about, like, okay, they released them in a certain order, but not in the order of the ages of the brothers? You know what I mean? I mean, so, like, Snow White... Well, I guess because Snow White's is a little more pertinent... maybe revealed a little bit more, you know, and then like Gretel was always kind of sisterly obsessed, so that's not revealing too much, even though we know why, you know. Anyway, so we're continuing Kaguya's, well, we're in Kaguya's world, not really his realm, but you know what I meant. Anyway, Puppet, where have you gone? Naturally, we chased after him. It's okay. Doing his voice first, I guess not easy. But Spacey Arisu was nowhere to be found. She's gone! What was she doing before all this happened? She said she had to go fetch something, so she went upstairs. Well, then this one's probably her. Her memories are just wonky, that's all. Everyone looked back at me. I don't know what to say. Oh my god, we took over and we kicked her out. But Alice knows who I am, and I need to hunt him down. Why Alice of all people? Why Alice of all people? I don't know why I can't do that, but... I don't know. Wait, so do you guys know him? Of course we know him. He lives here. Here's hoping the third time's the charm. I can't hear anything inside. I pressed my ear to the door just in case, but couldn't tell for sure if anyone was in there. This time I'd like to ambush him and make sure he doesn't get away, but the door's locked from the inside. Wait, it's not? When I twisted the knob, it opened easily, revealing no one inside. He's not here. Apparently he wasn't dumb enough to try the same trick over and over. Where's he gone, then? I don't know. What now? I was hoping Alice could help me figure out what's going on. I folded my arms in contemplation. Then Kaguya grinned at me. Ugh, he's so precious. I've got it. Wait here, Puppet. He walked out into the hall. Cinderella and Snow White stood outside the room, observing us at a distance. Cinderella, Snow White. He addressed the two of them. Cinderella quirked a brow at Kaguya's stoic expression. What is it? Puppet and I are going out to find Alice. Right now? Right now. What about the cafe? I reckon you and Snow White will need to handle it on your own. Hold on a minute. I get what you're saying, but do you really gotta go looking right this minute? At least wait until tonight. He had a point. My heart raced as I waited to see how Kaguya would counter. Ow, 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 ow! Then out of nowhere, he doubled over, clutching his cheek. Huh? All of a sudden, I feel a sharp pain in the spot where you punched me. You punched him? No, Okay, yeah, I did. That's ice cold. Look, man, it was a huge misunderstanding, alright? Right, yeah. A misunderstanding that sent me flying halfway across the room, innit? And your only apology was my bad. Reckon I ought to write to the labor board. Apparently Cinderella really didn't want a reputation as an evil corporation. Alright, I get it. You win. You two get your asses out of here and go find Alice. That's an order from your boss. At this, Kaguya straightened his posture. You mean it? Oh, Cinderella, I knew I could count on you. Beaming, he slung an arm around Cinderella's shoulders. I love it. Yeah, I guess. After getting the answer he wanted, Kaguya shoved Cinderella out of the way and raced back over at me, grinning. Right then, shall we be off, Poppet? Okay. It didn't click. If anyone's evil here, it's not the corporation. Hey, he just did what he had to do to get his way. Shady as fuck, but... He's not easy to find, is he? Nope. Together we ran around to all the places Alice was likely to go, but no luck. Then again, our chances of finding him were slim when we didn't even know which direction he went. You know Alice, right, Kaguya? Of course. What's he like? Let's see. Well, he's great at banter. It always amazes me to hear the sorts of things that come out of his mouth. An accurate assessment, to say the least. No matter what world I'm in, he's always the same. Noticing Kaguya looking at me, I cocked my head at him. Alice seems the same, but what about Kaguya? He seems a little different. I mean, that's the right answer, but also it seems like it would be true, because he is different. The Kaguya in his own route was definitely different than the Kaguya in Cinderella's route, you know what I mean? Come to think of it, you're a bit different from the other Kaguya I've met. Am I? How so? Well, you're more flawed, I guess? Flawed? I mean, yeah, because Kaguya just seemed like such a wonderful prince in the very beginning. You know, in Cinderella's route, you're like, I love him, why are we leaving him? And then in his route, you're like, oh, you're kind of a flirty whore. Well, it's because you just don't remember anything, huh? But, like, I mean, like, you've got a big ego. Maybe you're just more cunning. No, arrogant? Irreverent? Overbearing? Wow, those are all negative things. Poor Kaguya. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I meant to cushion it, but instead I gunned him down point blank. Good God. It's fine. He smiled stiffly, like, you got the right of it. Despite how I come off, I'm utterly arrogant and greedy as well. The mere mention of another man's name is enough to make me sick. What? That said, I'm rather enjoying this midday date, if I do say so myself. Oh, yeah, I suppose this counts. I went along with it. Are you hungry, Poppet? Anything you're dying to eat? Come to think of it, I am pretty hungry. In that case, shall we grab a bite to eat? Oh, there's the kebab stand. Let's go. Right. And so, we sat down on a bench at the lakeshore and had ourselves a late lunch. Here you are, Puppet. Kaguya pulled off the outer layer of his kimono and spread it out on the bench. Apparently he wanted me to sit on it. Didn't he do this in his route? Thank you? Then he sat down next to me and pulled out our freshly purchased kebabs. Just a moment and I'll get them ready. He slid each piece of meat off its skewer and onto a paper plate. How will you respond to this gesture? Ask him what Poppet means or feed him. Oh, I can do that. What? I took the plate from him and set about removing the meat from the other skewers. This way it's easier to eat, right? There, all done. Now we had a plate full of kebab meat, unkebabbed. I stabbed him with a fork and held it up to his mouth. Now say ah. Ah? Hesitantly, he bit down on the meat. How is it? Very nice. I know, right? He's so beautiful, look at him! Fucking look at him, I love him so much. Gosh, I feel so pampered. Like, his route probably wasn't my favorite, but, like, I just love him so much it doesn't even fucking matter. He's just such a little weirdo. I sighed. Kaguya was such a gentleman. I mean, they're all kind of assholes in their own way. They're all a little bit of a dick. Got a little bit of dick in them. That's all I'm saying. You know, like... We've already read that, okay. Well, you are my girlfriend, after all. I wanted to correct him and say that his real girlfriend was Spacey, but I couldn't bring myself to. And then again, I suppose you're not the same puppet. He lowered his gaze to the ground. Did you know we've come here and eaten kebabs once before? Wow, really? I remembered Cinderella telling me something similar, but Kaguya only cared about me because I looked like Spacey. He didn't actually care about me. Well, none of them have cared about you. They care about the person whose body you snatched, so, I mean, understandable. Kaguya, you're dating Spacey Arisu, right? I am indeed. Do you think that I'm her? I can't remember our history together, so I'm not sure. On the contrary, I have different memories altogether. Do I even still count as Spacey Arisu at this point? He looked at me wordlessly. He wasn't smiling, but he wasn't angry either. His emotional state was inscrutable as he seemed to gaze into my very soul. Your face and voice are exactly the Spacey Arisu I know. But perhaps you're not the same girl on the inside. What do you mean? You don't have the memories we made together. I doubt you remember, but it's thanks to her that I've managed to be myself at all. She pulled off my mask, revealed the real me, and saved me against my will. The Spacey Arisu I know is a ray of light, a brilliant girl with a pretty smile. She fell in love with me, and she healed me. Well, if I don't remember you, and I'm not in love with you, I guess I'm not Spacey Arisu after all. Complicated, isn't it? He smiled and tilted his head. Agreed. I nodded, smiling back at him. Moon dwellers are beautiful, opulent people who never grow old and never have any problems. Perhaps you're a moon dweller, then. So what you're saying is, I don't belong here. Right you are. I mean, in all honesty, there are ways I could test to see if you're the real puppet. Now this I wasn't expecting. There are? Let's test it out. Right then. Puppet, show me your tummy. My tummy? It was so sudden I couldn't help but blink back at him in confusion. Yes, your tummy. He stared at me intently. It sounds awkward when we say it, but it's kind of cute when he says it, even though it's still weird to call it your tummy. Show me your tummy. Am I 6? Or a dog? But we're outside. Indeed we are. I swallowed hard. He was dead serious. Kaguya? If I show you, will you really be able to tell if I'm the same Spacey Arisu? I will. Should I do it? If anyone saw me taking my clothes off out here, they'd think something very different was happening. And in broad daylight! At the lake! I scanned the area just in case, but right as I started to pull off my corset strings, I caught a glimpse of something gold glinting in the bushes. Aha! Uh-oh. There you are! Alice located. Ah, crap. Hastily, I retied my corset. You should have told me you were there, you pervert! What? That's the second time you called me that. Don't compare me to those other horny freaks like the red one or the green one. You were hiding in the bushes, spying on me. If I hadn't noticed you, you would have seen my naked body. Now, spare me the persecution complex. You really think you're that attractive? Typical self-obsessed female. It's like borderline incel in me. Then why did you stay quiet? Why did you follow me here? Explain it to me so I can understand. Well, he fell silent. Just kidding. I stuck my tongue out at him, then pounced. I got you this time. What? Damn it! You distracted me on purpose. That's not fair. I'm just playing by your rules, punk. Where have you been all this time? I've been looking for you. Huh. I knew you were looking for me, so I was hiding, obviously. They say the closer you are to something, the harder it is to see it, so I tailed you. Oh, so you could get a look at the goods, you peeping Tom. I didn't see anything. There was no peeping. What about you, huh? What do you think you're doing out here in broad daylight? Well, Kaguya said he could prove whether I'm really Spacey Arisu. So you just agreed? How slutty are you? Girls in porn games are more chaste than you goddamn nympho slut. Then why didn't you stop me? I was so focused on Alice, I kind of forgot Kaguya was there. He looked from me to Alice and back. Are you two children quite done bickering? He smiled stiffly. Confronted with our own immaturity, we both fell silent and took a step back to cool down. That said, I still had a firm grip on Alice's hand. Ahem! Now let's try again. I spoke in a calm, mature, adult voice. I am convinced you're avoiding me on purpose. What the fuck are you doing? You remember everything that happened before we got here. You're not one of them. You're like me. I just imagine she'd be like, I have to speak in a mature adult voice. And what of it? He responded coolly. Don't mess with me. I chased you through the mirror and now I'm stuck in this mysterious world. They all call me Spacey Arisu, but I don't remember a thing. Tell me, am I really Spacey Arisu? Why is there seemingly a version of me in every world? Quit being a jerk and just tell me. And if I refuse, I'll keep asking you until you give in. I stepped forward. He took a step back. As usual, you're a sore loser with no grace whatsoever. Well, I can't knock your optimism. And if you can only charge forward, then you better keep your eyes ahead of you. He shook my hand away, turned, and ran off. Wait, Alice! I feel like we're chasing the white fucking rabbit here. Are we sure we're not Alice? This is weird. Puppet! I started to give chase, but Kaguya grabbed my hand. Kaguya, please! I have to go after him. He's going to pass through the looking glass into a different world. As I pleaded with him, he squeezed my hand painfully tight. Don't go. Kaguya, please don't go. So what if you're a moon dweller? I still love you. Please don't leave me. He stared me down as he begged, practically glaring into my eyes. But then his usual soft expression returned. I feel bad. But you're leaving either way, aren't you? Yeah. Then I'll come with you. I don't think we'll be able to stay together. When I first came to this world, I passed through the mirror with someone else, but he never arrived. So I can't be sure what might happen to you. But, like, okay, so I have a question. When we fell into the lake with Cinderella, they kind of, like, they made comment about it in Red's route, right? Like, Cinderella and I fell into the lake. So we're gonna take Kaguya with us, because we fell into the lake with Cinderella. We purposely went through the mirror with Red Riding Hood. We're gonna do this with Kaguya. We're now slowly, not just us passing through the mirror, but us taking each one of those personalities that belongs in that world. Cinderella, then Red Riding Hood, now Kaguya. We're taking them and we're basically, like, slowly almost toppling his house of personality cards. Like, it's gonna probably come out when we get to the thing. It's like, we've now taken all of these personalities. We brought Cinderella into Red Riding Hood's world. Cinderella disappeared. He's not with us, but you wonder, did his personality almost like, okay, well, that's piece one down. And then Red is piece two. And like, we're basically dragging them. We're toppling them like dominoes, you know what I mean? We push 1 into 2 and 2 into 3, and we're going to push them all down until we get to the end, and then it's like, we've just conjoined all your personalities now, because we drag them all through the looking glass into the next world, and we're picking the pieces as we go. It's kind of fucking brilliant, actually. Because they didn't make it really obvious until now. When he's like, I'll go with you, and you're like, well, we won't be able to, and then it was like, wait a minute. Because they made a point to mention, like, okay, we're going to hold Red Riding Hood's hand and we get there, and oh, wait, he's gone. But they didn't really, they kind of glossed over the Cinderella one. Because it was like, we were falling into the lake, and I don't remember it being clear at the time that he fell in with us. But they think they mentioned it when we were in Red Riding Hood's section that, well, when Cinderella and I fell into the lake, so, like, he fell in with us. You know? They might have made it might have been, like, implied that, like, he fell. I don't remember it for some reason as being obvious to me. Because, like, it wasn't a fact at the time. Like, oh, Cinderella and I toppled into the lake. That, like, wait, it's very important. It's a key point that he fell into the lake with us, but didn't end up in the other world. And also because it's the first time you did that, you're like, oh, she just fell in through the world. You don't know that they're doing it. Now my computer's beeping at me, whatever. Until now, it's like, oh, wait, we are taking each one. Like, we're going to take him into the next world, but he's going to disappear. Because we're putting the shattered pieces of his personality kind of back together as we go. That's how we're going to heal him. Beautiful. I like it. Wow, game. Anyway. I can't be sure what might happen to you. I don't care what happens. Anything's better than you leaving me behind. It's okay. You'll be one with the rest of yourselves. I'm guessing. I fell silent and he continued. Look, Puppet, I don't know if you're really the girl I love, but I know this. I refuse to let anyone else have you, not even a fellow moon dweller. Okay, you can come with me. Brilliant. And we're gonna lose him, but it's okay. But then I wonder if all of them are gonna be, then that's the personalities that are in the wizards. But I mean, it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? Because we're pulling, the wizard is that last personality that, oh, is gonna cease to exist. And so we searched for the nearest mirror. Here we go. I bet he passed through this one. He didn't jump in the lake, but... Kaguya? I looked up at him and he squeezed my hand. Go on. Here we go. I'm going to assume we're going into Snow White. But... Great. Another problem to deal with. This is after his mother died, I'm assuming. When I awoke, I was in an unfamiliar house. My legs are numb. As I shifted my weight and looked around, I saw a bunch of grown-ups wearing black. Who are they? Where am I? All I recognized was the look in their eyes. Their hostile, mistrustful eyes. What's that? On the far side of the room was a small altar. Sitting on top was a photo of my mother. Why is Mom's picture there? I had a bad feeling about this. Because, like, okay, because it's kind of interesting, though, that Kaguya was the third instead of Snow White. Or we went into Kaguya. Because you know what I mean? It makes kind of sense, like, okay, Cinderella's the very beginning, because then he breaks the glass. He kind of formulates Cinderella to, like, deal with that. And then him and his mother move away, you know, into the thing. And then she's like, don't go outside. You're oppression. They're evil wolves. And that's kind of like Red Riding Hood's thing. But that was also stuff she told Snow White, right? And Snow White was living with her then when she died. And then she was like, you're not my son, kind of a thing. So it would almost make more sense that Snow White would have been the third. You know what I mean? And then Kaguya, because this is the birth of Kaguya. Like, oh, he created it because he was an abandoned child, like an orphan now, whatever. But this is after his mother died. So that's confusing. I want to see something. I want to see, like... I want to see if they... Which one was which? I'm trying to see if we can find... I'm trying to see if I can find out where they... I can't see. Yeah. Yeah, I can't... Okay, that page isn't loading. But anyway, I can't find... I was just kind of, like, try to Google it quick and see, like, the order. Because it would have made more sense... That makes more sense to me. Than here is his mother's dead. But you'd think he was blocking out the memories or remembering his mother being dead. And wait, no, wasn't it? Because Red Riding Hood and Snow White... No. Snow White was the third. Because in the wizard's route, right, when she was trying to get to know everybody, it was Red Riding Hood and Snow White remembered their mother. And then Kaguya was, like, in, like, the orphanage or whatever, which would make more sense. So it doesn't make sense now in the scheme of things why in the order we're falling through the mirrors, why we fell into Kaguya before Snow White. That doesn't make any sense. It would have made sense if we were going in the order that these personalities were created. You know what I mean? Because it explains so much, like, Cinderella was, like, the first one, okay. They get a little more unhinged as they go, if you think about it. Like, Because Cinderella pretty much is just like, my deadbeat father, and I broke that glass, and whatever. And he's like, and then you get Red Riding Hood, who's like, just, I can't, people, oh, like, and then there's Snow White, who's like, I lived with the dead body of my mother. And then Kaguya, who's like, I was abandoned and I'm like, and just kind of lost his marbles. And then Gretel, who's like, sister. You know what I mean? Like, and then there's the wizard, who is like, well, I fucking know everything, because fuck this shit, I'm not even real. Like, I have to say, he's probably the most messed up, because he's like, I'm not even real. I'm just a figment of this fucker's imagination. And I just like, what the hell? But you had to make me knowing that I'm fake? What the fuck? Like, so he got the short end of the stick. But yeah, I like that we're tripping through and we're getting, like, you're kind of seeing, like, how the personalities were formed. But now I'm kind of at this point thinking, well, it doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe it'll make sense as we go. But right now it doesn't make sense that we didn't do Snow White first. You know what I mean? And where then you would see, like, his mother dying and then him not knowing, because he made Snow White before he made Kaguya. I'm pretty sure. So, and even, I mean, you know what I mean? Because he had to have. Because Snow White remembers the death of his mother, and now his mother's dead. Kaguya doesn't even remember any of that. So, Kaguya was formed after Snow White. So it doesn't make sense in his timeline that we're jumping ahead and then we're going to jump back. That doesn't make any sense now. If they were doing it in the same order of, like, the paths in the thing, but I don't think Kaguya... Well, maybe Kaguya was supposed to be done before Gretel. I think we did Gretel first. So if Gretel's next, then it makes sense it's being done in the order that the routes were released, and I think we did Gretel before we did Kaguya. And maybe that was a choice that I made instead of just going... Because I think the first one we went kind of in order, and the same we did with the third one, But I kind of liked it better when we went and it was like, oh, it's the order where the brothers were formed. No, wait, that's not what they're doing. That's what they should have done, though. I feel like that would have made more sense, like, in this route. Anyway. Excuse me, but where are we? Why is my mother's picture up there? Don't be stupid. This is your maternal grandparents' house. Now, don't interrupt the funeral. Funeral? You know, I think there's something wrong with him. I'm sure everything that happened probably has traumatized him. What happened? What are you talking about? Please tell me. Where's my mom? Where is she? Calm down. Your mother is dead. This man is a dick. Mom's dead? I couldn't believe it. You're lying. I didn't want to believe it. How could she be dead? She was so beautiful and kind and good at cooking. So protective of me. And I loved her dearly. And the last time I saw her, she was crying. Mom! Mom! Ah! After that, I went to live with people who were supposedly related to my mother. Later, I'd learned that my mother was found dead in our house in the middle of winter. And apparently I was found living with her corpse. But oddly enough, I didn't remember any of it. When I went to the hospital, the doctor said I had dissociative amnesia. I didn't really know what that meant. After that, there was another gap in my memory. Next thing I knew, I was at the house full of people I'd never met. It scared me so badly I ran away. Okay, this explains Kaguya, but... I wonder if each time we've done these, like... Because at first we were Alistair, and we were, like... We're reading it like Alice's personality. Like, in his head, he's Alice, but when he talks out loud, he's Alistair. You know? Except for when he was dealing with us. But now I wonder if, like... After Cinderella's story, we should have read Alistair as, like, with Cinderella's voice. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, we should be reading him now as Kaguya, because that's... But I think, like, these are the times he actually is Alistair in these times. Like, what? Where am I? Because Kaguya's not there now. But it would have been kind of funny. That would have been too much to keep up with, but no matter how far I tried to run, I always wake up back in a house full of strangers.
You do nothing but cause trouble for other people!
Give him a break, he's an unloved orphan. Surely we can look after him for a while.
I've been trying, but all he ever does is lie!
Every time my relatives shunted me around, I was forced to change schools. Being at home or at school, I had nowhere to belong. I have very few memories of that period of my life. The next thing I knew, I was lying on a hospital bed. Where am I?
Oh, you're awake. How are you feeling? Any pain anywhere?
It had happened again. Once again, I was talking to a soft-spoken woman whose name I didn't know.
You passed out at the lake. Do you remember that? You sure scared us. Woke up to find you gone, searched all over for you. Then we got a call from the hospital. Hospital? They ran some tests just in case, but couldn't find anything, so that's good.
What was so good about it? If everyone was gonna treat me like a nutcase either way, then I would have preferred a proper diagnosis. With nowhere else to go, I accompanied the orphanage worker back to the bamboo house. And they treated me like a troublemaker there, too.
It's all your fault!
Out of nowhere, someone threw a book at me. What?
I know the whole story! That night the two of you snuck out together!
Huh? What was he talking about?
You killed her!
I killed someone? Killed who?
Hey, that's enough!
No, that's right, because didn't Kaguya say that? Like, the girl tried to, take him away, and then she, jumped off the building? Or whatever?
But...
I don't remember.
Murderer!
Murderer? At this, I thought of my mother. I didn't know how she died. But she was most certainly dead. Apparently, I'd been living with her corpse, though I didn't remember it. I was always so confused about that. But I tried my best not to think about it, because I was terrified of discovering that I was the one behind her death. A moment later, I was overcome with an intense nausea, and I puked right there on the spot. A few days later, the concerned orphanage worker took me to the hospital.
Are you all right?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't like hospitals, and I was especially nervous to visit the psychiatric ward. Alistair, I'm ready to see you now.
Right.
Summoned by name, I entered the examination room.
Because he's Alice in his head, but he's
not yet. I have a feeling, I feel like we're gonna pull them all together because, Alistair is just long gone. Well, Alistair and Alice were the same the same head long before he started having all these issues, where then he started splitting his personalities off. But he already had a split personality in the beginning, which is interesting. The psychiatrist was a middle-aged man with glasses and graying hair. As I sat down on the stool, he looked up from the documents on his desk. What brings you in today? I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little nervous. The silence terrified me. Desperately, I searched for something to say. I tried to laugh it off, but I wasn't sure if it sounded natural. What makes you feel nervous? Well, I wasn't expecting him to ask. Instantly, my mind went blank. I needed to say something. Anything. Now. But the words wouldn't come to mind. His steely gaze made me want to bolt. According to your paperwork, it says your mind often wanders to the point that you lose track of time. Is that correct? And we saw all this when we were in the wizard's route, didn't we? He noticed me fumbling and changed his question. Wasn't it in the wizard's route? Yeah, it was in the wizard's route where we went to visit the doctor as Spacey, and we kind of saw all this. Interesting. I thought it was the wizard's route, because I don't think why it would have been Snow White, but... Yes? I answered in a shaky voice. How long has this been happening for you? How long? I don't know. Ever since I can remember, one minute I'm at home and then I find myself outside or talking to someone I don't know. Do these people seem to know you? Yes. I see. Please continue. Yeah, we had this exact conversation. That's interesting. Right, because we actually went in the wizard's route. We were like, oh, let's go talk to this doctor. Why did we go to talk to the doctor? I don't remember. We were trying to investigate something. Well, we were investigating who sent us the note. Like the merry one of them, right? And then we somehow ended up here and we were having this conversation and we said these things and it was like, that's so weird. What the fuck is going on? We were slipping into Alistair at the time, huh? In the process of answering his questions, my anxiety must have faded, because this time my mind stayed sharp. It's okay, he's a doctor. He's used to the stuff. It's okay if I make mistakes. For some reason, it feels like I'm dreaming. I know I'm awake, but sometimes I have these strangely vivid, lifelike experiences. I know it's not real, but sometimes I feel like crying or my chest hurts. Feels like I'm reliving my memories, but from the perspective of someone who isn't me. Almost like I'm not really Alice anymore. Do you ever find yourself in a place you don't recognize? Or find yourself injured and don't know how it happened? I kind of wonder... Like, his mother calls him Alice. He refers to himself as Alice. Alice is the person in his head. But when he's always talking, it always says Alistair. But I wonder if Alice is the real person and Alistair is the figment of his imagination. I'm starting to wonder this, because, like, it is a little weird that, like, his mother's always like, Alice, Alice, and, like, he just referred to himself as Alice and the doctor thought nothing of it. But when he's talking, his little thing is Alistair. And he introduced himself to us as Alice, right? When we met him as a kid. No one has ever called him Alistair. Did he introduce himself as Alice? I thought he did. And we called him that. No one is ever... So that's weird. So I'm like wondering, because in the very beginning he had that split personality already, and it was Alice that was like whatever with the attitude in his head, right? The Alice that we know. And it always seemed like, oh, well, Alistair is the person, but Alice is the character he made up in his head, his first personality that's split. But you wonder if Alice is really the real person. And, like, Alistair is actually the figmented personality. And they just kind of switch the names around to kind of fuck with you, but everyone calls him Alice, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of strange. I mean, maybe they'll explain, like, oh, they always called him Al, and that's why Alice split from, you know, it was like that was his nickname or whatever, but everyone calls him Alice. No one has ever called him Alistair. I don't think. Like I'm trying to think, like, has anyone actually called him that? Or we know him that because we just see the name there all the time, but I don't think anyone's ever called him Alistair. Huh. Anyway. You ever find yourself in a place you don't recognize, or find yourself injured and you don't know how it happened? Yes. I see. Let me see your hand. Okay. I did as requested. He lightly slapped my palm. Did you feel that? Did it hurt? Yeah? Incidentally, how do the people in your life treat you? Has anyone ever told you you're acting like a different person? Well... Have you ever felt someone watching you from a dark doorway or somewhere just out of reach? Is there a dark shadow behind you? How did he know all that? Yes? Alright then. I believe you may have a condition known as dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder? As the name suggests, DID is a dissociative disorder wherein detached emotions and memories take on a personality of their own. In movies and books, they often use the term multiple personality disorder. Have you heard of it? I have. So I have multiple personality disorder? Well, I have yet to observe you in a dissociative state, so I can't be sure.
but I think the likelihood is high. It didn't really click. Have you ever had a conversation with someone in your head? I mean, who fucking doesn't? Is that not normal? What, we don't all have fucking JD Scrubs moments where we're just like, off in your head in a fantasy world? And you're like, wait, what? I'm sorry, we're in the middle of a meeting, but that just spurned me off into fantasy land? Or you don't just, like, talk to yourself? That... Okay. Alright. Look. There was a way cooler me in my head. It's just wishful thinking, but, like... I'm silent because the voice is in my head. I'm sorry, but like, okay, you're making it sound like just having a conversation with yourself is weird. That's kind of, is that not normal? Like, oh God. Like talking to yourself, right? I inherited that from my dad. He used to talk to himself all the time. He'd like have conversations. He'd have arguments with himself. But then I get it, because it's the same thing where, like, it's something that happens, like, at work that frustrates you or something, and you're just like, you know, I swear to God, and you're just, like, kind of mumbling angrily to yourself. My dad would do that all the time. And you'd watch, and you'd be like, oh, he's mad about something at work. And just, like, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, and then you just talk to you like nothing was happening, and you're like, you're just mumbling angrily to yourself. But I do it all the time. See, the things I say to you guys when I'm recording this, because, see, I'm recording, so it's one thing. Like, oh my God, let me just tell you about the shit that happened to me today. I may have told you, but I talked about it for 6 hours to myself during that day. I'm not even kidding. Oh God. Anyway. No, never. Lies. I lied on reflex. Lies, Liza Minnelli. I'm not sure why I did that. Alright then. Can you recall any deeply unpleasant childhood memories regarding your parents? Has anyone ever struck you or touched you in a way that made you uncomfortable? This conversation's making me a little uncomfortable, but... No, never. I see. Very well. Oh, once I felt sick. You probably thought I was abused as a kid. Generally, this condition is caused by intense mental stress during early childhood. Severe bullying or witnessing the death of a loved one, those sorts of things can become a trigger for dissociation. I mean, what the hell happened where he created the Alistair Alice persona? Because there was 2 people already in his head when he met us. And then we left, and he was already sad, and his father gave him a gift, and he was like, yay, I can send her one! And then he broke it, which would have been very traumatic for him. Right? And then his father kind of abandoned them. But the weird thing is his father abandoned them like kind of after he created the Cinderella person. Well, no, it was more like the father wasn't around at that point, right? He was always like gone all the time. And I think it was after that he was like, he's never coming back. And then we moved away. And your mother was like, don't ever leave. And everyone was bullying you. And that's kind of where and then you created Red Riding Hood. And then like your mother died and well, you created Snow White before you saw her dead, or did you create Snow White when she was dead? And then you were, like, in orphanages and you created Kaguya from, like, being passed around. Like, I mean, like, you can kind of see, you're like, yeah, no, he's got a lot of trauma in his life. But what was the first? What happened in the very beginning to where he, I mean... created Alice/Alistair, because I don't know who the real person is, but he created one initially. Like, because before we met him, in the very beginning, he already had Alice in his head. So, But of course, there are other causes, too. I don't get it. I don't really understand. What don't you understand? Not like he was judging me. My throat tightened. I keep having these lapses of memory, but I didn't even notice them at first. When did you first start noticing your memories were missing? The first time I really became aware of it was probably 2 years ago. One day when I woke up, I was in a place I didn't recognize, surrounded by strangers. And my mother was gone. But the weird thing is you did notice before that. Because he's thinking about now. Like this that we just saw. Like when Kaguya was split. Like, oh my god, wait a minute, what happened? And he's saying he doesn't remember. But even before that, he would be like, I didn't promise you that. He was already having lapses in his memory then, and he knew way back then. So, it's interesting. And then some guy I don't know told me she was dead. I see. Oh, I see now. That's enough. For today, I'll write you a prescription for some anti-anxiety pills. They should help you feel calm. And as far as I can tell, that's what you need right now. At your next appointment, I'd like to run some tests, if that's alright with you. Tests? Blood work, MRI, CT, maybe an EEG while we're at it. If you're worried about pain, don't be. When we draw your blood, you'll only feel a small pinch. Of course, if you'd prefer not to undergo the tests, you aren't required to. We can take this one step at a time whenever you feel ready. Okay. Now then, could you go and call the social worker? Okay. After my appointment ended and it was time to pay the fee, I walked out to the courtyard to clear my head. Multiple personality disorder didn't feel like it fit at first, but once I thought it over calmly, a lot of things started to make sense. Snow White? Hey, Snow White. Huh? Just then a man in a lab coat called out to me using a name I didn't recognize. Long time no see. What brings you here? The man had silver hair and pale blue eyes. While he was taller and more distinctive looking than the average Japanese person, he seemed to speak my language fluidly. I'd never seen him at any point in my life before. Surely I'd remember it. I've been worried about you, you know, but I didn't have a way to contact you. Oh, that's right, because he met Snow White at the lake. Snow White was like, I met Ryoshi at the lake. Right, so he was in Snow White. See, he had already created Snow White at this point. He just doesn't remember it. I never thought I'd bump into you here of all places, but, well, I'm just happy you're doing okay. As he spoke, he placed a hand on my head. Look, Huh? This has happened to me several times now. In the past, it was always miserable for both of us, but starting today, things were gonna be different. Now I knew I had a disorder. I think you have the wrong person. My name isn't Snow White, and I don't know you. As I shot him down, he looked back at me in alarm. Alistair! Oh. See, everyone else calls him Alice except for the social worker. Curious. She called him Alistair, but when he said, I don't even know who Alice is, and the doctor's like, interesting. Didn't say a thing, like... I mean, I guess Alistair, you know? I mean, I guess it could be just a nickname, but it is kind of weird how they never kind of, like, point that out, that, like, oh, it's just a nickname. I mean, I guess we're supposed to assume that, but it's just curious. Because he already had a split personality, so you're just now, I'm just like, who? Are we sure Alistair just isn't the fake? Like, I don't know, you know? Just then the social worker showed up, which was a huge relief. Anyway, sorry, but I have to go. I inclined my head to him and took off running. Oh, sorry. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I'd encounter that man again. At my next appointment, I was officially diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. How do you feel? Are you encountering any problems in your daily life? How are things at the orphanage? At the orphanage, all the other kids avoided me. No surprise there. Multiple personality disorder wasn't something you saw in fiction, not real life. Whenever the adults were nice to me, the other kids saw it as special treatment for the pathological liar. Do you have any friends there? No. I see. Alistair, I have a proposal. Would you be interested in committing yourself to our facilities here? Huh? I can help you. He's like, well, everybody hates me at the orphanage. I mean, I guess. And so at the psychiatrist's suggestion, I have myself committed. Right now, you're in a very dark place. It's so dark you can't see a thing. You can't even tell how far you've walked or how much time has passed. The beginning was just the doctor talking to us. No matter where you go, the scenery around you remains static and unchanging. It's like the darkness has consumed everything. All sense of direction, even the very concept of time itself. It is really kind of interesting how they did this. Like, you're like, oh, this is, okay. Oh. It kind of like, now when you go back, it's like, all sense of direction, even the very concept of time itself is gone, because that's what the doctor's been telling you the whole time. Whew! I mean, you gotta say, this is one of the most well-done games ever, because, like, just... I mean... A lot of games do, like, murder, mystery, like, you know, whatever, darker themes, but this is, like, really the only game that's delved into any kind of, like, mental illness like this, where, like, especially, like, having a split personality, and then each one of your routes and each one of your love interests is actually just a personality in the head of someone else. And oh wait, you're also a figment of their imagination, kind of. You're a real person, but also not. It's kind of fucking weird. And then, like, every part of the beginning, like, it's a trip and a half, and it, you know, the multiple layers on this what the fuck cake is just amazing. Like, just, it's great, but... Were you to stand perfectly still and hold your breath, the only sound would be that of your own heartbeat. And for some reason, you can still see yourself in the dark. So you keep walking forward. Now, what can you see up ahead? Nothing. It's pitch black. Nothing, Thus far, I've established contact with your alternate personalities, but it appears the main personality is unable to speak to them. I'm sorry. No, don't be. Nothing you need to apologize for. The doctor treated me kindly. At first I thought he was a cold, unfeeling person, but over time that impression faded. Most importantly, he understood me better than anyone else. So I decided to go along with whatever he asked. In most cases of DID, the patient has no memory of things the other personalities did. So I can't meet with my other personalities? The chances are slim. Tell me, how do you think someone identifies themselves? By having a continuous consciousness. Or put more simply, the presence of ongoing memories. Dissociative identity disorder is caused by a malfunction in that system. But of course you only have one body, so even when another personality is in control, your brain is still functional. Because of that, some memories may be shared by all personalities, like me. Of course, I just worm my way in all of them, but... Now, according to your other personalities, your mind is comprised of separate rooms where they pass the time whenever they're not in control. Interesting, so the other personalities know about each other? You sons of bitches have been lying to me. I mean, that explains why they were all in each other's routes. And Alice kind of was too. You know, like, everybody was kind of there in some ways. Like, I mean, maybe not. Like, you didn't see... I don't think we saw Red in some of them. But, like, in theory, he was there. But it's kind of interesting that they're like, oh, well, there's rooms where they go when they're not in control. Because it'd be like you're talking to Cinderella. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm always in control. I know what I'm doing. But he knows he's not. He knows he's a personality. You motherfuckers knew the whole time, and you lied to me. I feel so deceived, not by this game, but by our love interest. You assholes knew the whole fucking time that you weren't real. You knew! You knew! And only the wizard was, like, just, like, completely fucked up over it. Like, I know I'm not fucking real, and everybody else knows they're not real, but they don't care. What the fuck? Wait, what? That's, like, the reveal, that's, like, the slap in the face of this game. Wait. You mean to tell me that Cinderella knew he wasn't real the whole fucking time? They all knew? And only the wizard was like, psh, I'm not real, what the fuck do I care? The wizard was bitter over it. Like, you could tell. He was like, what the fuck, this isn't real, nothing's real. I'm not even real, fuck this shit. But all the other assholes knew. They all knew. Unless it was the wizard pretending to be all of them the whole time.
But I don't think the doctor's created the wizard yet, so he's not there. But that's... Wow. Whenever they need to talk, they gather in the darkness. They talk to each other, though. In the darkness? The place I tried to guide you to. Are they aware that we have DID? No. Why haven't you told them? They each have their own problems. If they found out they're your personalities on top of that, who knows what they might do. Okay, but it sounds like... Well, here's the weird thing, though, right? Some memories are shared. Okay, according to your other personalities, your mind is comprised of separate rooms where they pass the time whenever they're not in control. Whenever they need to talk, they gather in the darkness. Like, whenever they need to talk to each other, they gather in the darkness. That's dark space. He was trying to bring Alistair there to meet with these other personalities. But then he's like, but they don't know they're alternate personalities in someone else's head. Like, Cinderella sees himself the way we see Cinderella. Kaguya sees... You know what I mean? Like... And if you were like, here, Kaguya, look in the mirror, he'd be like, who the fuck is that? Like, he doesn't... It's like he knows, but he doesn't. Like... But, like... This is what's confusing to me, though. They don't know that they're alternate personalities. But yet they know that there is a place that they go when they're not in control. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. So, like... Maybe it's because, at least as far as I'm aware, I'm a dominant personality. I'm the only personality I have. But, you know what I mean? It'd be like, people are talking to you, you're like, yeah, so when I'm not in control, I just go off into there's like a holding cell for me, like a holding place, and that's where I go. And then if I want to talk to the other personalities, we all gather in this dark room. So you know you're a part. No, God, I wouldn't tell them. So they know, but they don't? I'm very confused about this. This is confusing me a lot, so, well, anyway. Though they seem like independent people operating outside of your memory, they're ultimately a manifestation of your emotions. That night I looked in the mirror for the first time in a long while. And there I could see a blonde guy with a blue ribbon staring back at me. You're all a part of me. You've taken control of my body, my head, my entire life. And the truth is, you're all... Lurking inside me were versions of myself I didn't know. They had no self, but I had no confidence. Am I really me? This is where we end up in another who the hell knows whose route now. I'm going to go with Snow White's route, because if it were Gretel's, we would have woken up in a cage. And I really do feel like Gretel would be the last one. It would make more sense. But then again, it would have made more sense that Snow White was the third one, because, like, the order makes sense that Snow White came before the mother died, and then Kaguya was after, and then Gretel was later when our family took him in, and then the wizard was the last. But they're doing it weird in this, so it doesn't make sense to me. So maybe it's Gretel, and then it would be like that second game, maybe we were supposed to play Kaguya's first and then Gretel's, and I think I switched them because I wanted to save Kaguya's. And I didn't think it really mattered, but maybe it's kind of like, you know, that's the order that this plays out in. I don't know. So, at any rate, I am really tired, and this is the perfect place to stop. So, I am going to wrap this up. This game is really good. It's always been good, but I really like the way they did this, because I didn't see this coming. Like, shit, I didn't... Well, okay, we in the wizard route, we're like, are we just fucking Figma? Oh my god, we are. We're all just figments in his head. Holy shit. You know, it started there, but, man, it just keeps getting like, wow. I mean, I just don't get over that. Like, oh, okay, we're all just figments of Alice's imagination. Wow. We're just split personalities, and I'm kind of a figment. Wow. It's really... I don't know how it's going to work out, because we're in his head. Yes, Spacey exists outside of, but all of the experiences that we have had in here, and, like, if we ever I'm just curious how it's going to end up. Because, like, oh, okay, we're going to end with Alice. Like, Alice is literally the canon route because every single one of these characters was basically Alice in some way, shape, or form, right? But there's right now us, the us we've been in every route of this game, including this one, is just a figment in his head. And then there is a real world version of Spacey out there, but she's not us. That's holy shit. That's so fucking like, it's like Inception right now. Cause like that's the way Alice feels. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of people living in my head that take over my life and they're not me and I have no idea who they are and it's fucking weird, isn't it? Yeah, cause us, we're a figment of your imagination. We live in your head, but the real us is outside in the real world, and that might be who we at the end of the game. It's like, oh, okay, here's Alice talking to the real world Spacey, and then the person we have always been. We, us, not Spacey. Not real world Spacey. Okay, we're us. We're imaginary Spacey. We've always been imaginary Spacey. She's just gonna like poof out of existence, and then Alice is gonna go off with real world Spacey like we didn't. Oh my god, we're like the wizard right now. Wait, what the fuck? What are you doing? Rude. God. Oh my god. That's so insane. You're like, yeah, oh look, Alice got a happy ending, and we Spacey got it, but that's not really us because the us that's always been us has been a figment. Like, not real. Wait. Shit. Oh my god. Wow. You know, it's kind of good because it's kind of heavy. Like, that'd be like, if you found out right now that, like, no, you're actually a split personality, that the body that you're in, their real personality made you up to deal with trauma and you're not real and we're going to get rid of you. You'd be like, what? No. And then they just erase you and you don't exist anymore. You'd be like, that's not nice. I exist. I am valid, even if I'm fake, even if I'm an imagination. Like, weird, but that's what we are, and that's what's going to happen. And oh my god, we are the wizard. That's how he feels. But like, they're making you feel like that. Like, we're a fake person. We're not real. Oh, sure, the real Spacey whispered in his ear, I'm going to pop into your head. And then we existed, but we ain't real. We've never been real. Oh my god, that's so weird. So heavy. It's insane and I love it. It's a lot to deal with though. It's like, holy fuck. Anyway, wrap your head around that and have some fun with it. And I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.